Well, the G20 is meeting in sunny Los Cabos, Mexico, starting today. And of course, the focus is on Europe. Well, leaders want growth. And Sudeep Reddy is joining us from sunny Los Cabos. Sudeep, first I got to congratulate you on a great job setting up that Skype shot. That looks very nice. I'm very jealous.
Thank you, Rolf. It's a good shot with the sunset coming up.
You going to get to go to the beach a little bit?
The sunrise, exactly. Probably not, but we'll see. We're looking for the money shot of Angela Merkel and Barack Obama on the beach sometime.
Wow, that's great. Well, we'll look forward to that. Well, let's get into the meat of this. First of all, leaders, especially President Obama, want to promote growth, economic growth. What are the chances that they can really come out with some sort of agreement to do that?
Well, what they're really trying to do is figure out some way to make sure that the global economy doesn't continue slipping in unison. You have growth problems in almost every G20 country right now. All the major economies, all the emerging economies are dealing with this problem. And so they're trying to make sure that there's some moment where they can come together and prevent the spiral from occurring. The G20 as a group was actually founded for the heads of state in 2008, rather, in Washington in the depths of the crisis. And the idea was to make sure that the world didn't entirely collapse in this financial downturn. And of course, now in their 7th meeting, they're again focusing mostly on how to prevent the world from going into the same kind of spiral triggered by Greece. Is of course one of the many oddities that they're gathering in Mexico while they're focused on Greece, but that's the nature of these things.
Sudeep, you mentioned, of course, 2008, 2009, the G20 met, and they were able to come to some agreements about really coordinating stimulus to drive economic growth. Really, I guess my question is, do they have any bullets left in the chamber at this point to do something similar?
That's the problem that most of them are facing. The ones who have ammunition are already starting to use it. You've seen interest rates come down in many of the emerging economies. Obviously, the advanced economies are doing everything they can with quantitative easing to try to lower rates across their economies. But they're all struggling with similar problems right now. And their big fear is that as their ammunition depot is low, what are they going to do if they go into another crisis? And so this is turning into a nice pressure chamber where 20 heads of state get together and all try to beat up on Europe. And the idea is that if you can actually put the weight of the world on the shoulders of the Europeans so that they can see in this moment that we're in right now how important it is that they take some meaningful, concrete action to save the currency union, then it might actually push them toward a swifter and stronger response. But
does the world, Sudeep, does the world have any leverage? Of course, President Obama needs growth to help keep this recovery going at least through November, but he doesn't really have any leverage, really. We talk about the world trying to exert pressure, but what can they do?
It's a great question and a great point. And one of the challenges here is that when you saw the Asian financial crisis in the 1990s, it was pretty obvious that those were economies that needed help from the richer economies of the world. And now we're seeing the tables turn. You've got, just in the last day, Indonesia and Mexico imploring the Europeans to take stronger action. And obviously, those were countries that needed international rescues in the 1990s. And so now there's some concern that the tables will turn so much that even more of these European countries will need bailouts from the International Monetary Fund, from some other kind of international assistance, and there just isn't that much available given the scope of the problem in these advanced economies in Europe, and that is the underlying fear going through every leader right now as they gather in this summit.
Sudeep, let me ask you also about President Obama. He's got an issue with Syria, right? And he's meeting with President Putin today to discuss it. What are we expecting from that?
Well, this is a big moment for President Obama because it's his meeting with the Russian president after the changeover in power in Russia. And for President Obama, he's trying to appear at home in the U.S. that like he's got some leverage on something. He's obviously facing great difficulty with Congress, and he's trying to push on the international front, both to resolve the European issue, but also to deal with these other security issues. And on Russia, he's trying to push Putin on Syria to try to get Russia to engage diplomatically with Syria and come to some kind of resolution. Russia is hesitant on that, but of course Russia is playing a very important role in trying to deal with Iran and working closely with the U.S. because Russia's concerns about a nuclear Iran as well. And so they've got these cross currents facing them on these two issues as they meet today in their first meeting, and that could actually prove to be more useful and productive for President Obama than going through the traditional exercise of trying to diplomatically pressure the Europeans to take action when it's obviously clear that they haven't in Europe for the last 2 years to have enough action.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy sunny Los Cabos. I'm, again, very jealous of that shot right there.